Good morning, good afternoon, and then a good evening to Terry and all others in the Southern Hemisphere down in Australia, New Zealand, if there's any more. And thanks for having us participate in this important discussion. It's truly an honor to share our research with all of you in the United Kingdom. By way of introductions, I'm Kelly Sundberg. I'm an associate professor in the Department of Economics, Justice and Policy Studies at Mount Royal University in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, out on the west side. And formerly, before my academic career, I served 15 years as an investigator with what is today the Canada Border Services Agency. And I'm also the principal investigator for a study examining the feasibility of establishing a professional college of policing for the province of British Columbia that is funded by the government of British Columbia Ministry of Public Safety and Solicitor General. And then joining me is my good friend and colleague, Dr. Christina Witt. And Christina is a homicide detective with the Calgary Police Service, which is Canada's 5th largest policing service. And Christina has over 20 years of policing here in Calgary, and also serves as a part-time lecturer in the Department of Economics, Justice and Policy Studies at Mount Royal, and is part of our research team exploring the feasibility for a police college in British Columbia. Let's get our next slide here. So our research is focused on how the paradigm of policing in Canada can be advanced by establishing a professional college of policing in each Canadian province. It's our belief that by establishing professional colleges of policing in each province, the occupation of police will truly transform into the profession of policing. As we know, while all professions are occupations, not all occupations are professions. In general terms, professional colleges in Canada, such as the colleges of physicians and surgeons, colleges of pharmacists, professional associations of engineers, law societies, etc., are government-sanctioned bodies that independently establish, maintain, and enforce the scope of professional practice for a profession, minimum educational credential needed to engage in professional practice, the continuing education requirements for maintaining a professional license, and the code of conduct professionals follow. A central aspect of all professional colleges is to provide independent oversight of professionals and take appropriate disciplinary action against those who fail to meet the professional standards of practice set by the college. Specific to the professional colleges of policing for Canadian provinces we propose, these colleges would, 1, protect the public from policing malpractice and misconduct. 2, define the roles, functions, and responsibilities for police officers. 3, establish the base educational credential required for registration, licensing, and certification as a police officer. 4, determine and deliver the compulsory continuing professional education for police officers. 5, develop a code of ethics for police. 6, establish, review, and advance evidence-based, community-focused, and standardized policing policies, processes, and practices. 7, support and advance research and scholarship specific to the profession of policing. And 8, receive, evaluate, investigate, and adjudicate complaints involving police officers. So I'll now turn it over to Christina to walk through one example we presented to the government of Alberta to establish an Alberta College of Policing.
Okay, thanks, Kelly. So the college would be accountable to the Alberta's Minister of Justice and Solicitor General, who would appoint the Executive Council, provide guidance and budget approval, and address public concerns about the college. The college could be governed by an Executive Council comprised of experienced policing and criminal justice professionals, members of the public, and other experts committed to advancing the profession of policing while also protecting the public from police malpractice. The Executive Council could be comprised of police and community stakeholder groups. They would supervise and regulate the operations of the college, including guidance relating to policing standards, education, oversight, and related professional activities, and managing the college's policies, processes, budgets, finances, and strategic planning, including the hiring and directing of the college's executive director. The Executive Council could be comprised of members having direct knowledge, experience, and involvement with policing, public safety, and security, with the council's chair being a a person independent of police who is appointed by the Alberta's Minister of Justice and Solicitor General. Of significant importance is ensuring the composition of the Executive Council is representative of Alberta's diverse population, including but not limited to members who are female, Indigenous, LGBTQ2, along with others from diverse communities. The Board of Advisors could be comprised of representatives from professional associations, societies, or government agencies. The Chief XO could be hired by the Executive Council and would assume primary responsibilities such as budgeting, spokesperson, manage the college's strategic plan, and hiring. There would be 3 primary offices. One is the Office of the Registrar, which would deal with membership matters. 2 is the Office of Professional Standards, which deals with complaints involving police officers, whereby the public can be confident that complaints of police are dealt with by an objective civilian oversight body. The 3rd office is the Office of Police Education, Research, and Scholarship that describes roles, functions, and responsibilities of policing, recommends base educational credentials required to be registered, licensed, and certified as a police officer. The systems created by the college are to allow for the largest number of police applicants and ensure the needs of the college and the public are met. The college would have an onboarding strategy that promotes diversity, incorporates flexibility, accommodates the needs of as broad of a cross-section of society as possible. So for our proposed model for onboarding, the future police officers would be responsible for their own foundational education, thus removing some of the cost and burden from police agencies. We recognize that this is not the only pathway to becoming a police officer, and it is understood the process must allow for unique circumstances and previous education experience, especially in the initial years of the college. A central aim of the college must be to attract diverse members of society to pursue a policing profession and ensure its onboarding processes are as inclusive and flexible as possible. With this in mind, we propose four primary phases. The first phase is the academic phase, whereby there'd be an online policing certificate delivered by an approved post-secondary college or university, and would take approximately 8 to 10 months to complete prior to their application to the police service. The materials, sometimes referred to as soft skills, traditionally delivered during recruit training, could now be covered in the certificate program, whereby the curriculum can be kept up to date and delivered by adult educators from both academic and practitioner backgrounds, in order to deliver critical education related to our diverse and also vulnerable populations, our Canadian justice system, and other police-related topics. The next phase is the application phase. There would be psychological and physical testing, background and reference checks, and possible assessment day scenarios. We believe there's potential to modernize this in order to capture recruits with high moral reasoning and excellent communication skills, rather than place heavy emphasis on physical abilities. The application phase is estimated to take between 4 and 8 months. If the candidate is successful, they're offered employment and would enter into the next phase, the police academy phase, which would be delivered by each individual police agency to provide the hard skills, evidence-based research, and experiential learning. In theory, this phase could be reduced in time due to the pre-education piece, so approximately 3 to 4 months of academy training. If the candidate is successful, they would be sworn in as a police officer and enter into the post-academy phase or probationary period. The probationary officer would be required to complete their online diploma and participate in field training with an officer coach. There would be robust officer coach training and assessment of the probationary officer in order to complete the probation. And we also, with the college, would emphasize the ongoing learning throughout a person's career, including supervisor and executive leadership training, education, and development throughout the officer's entire career.